What's up, Sterile Processing Universe? It's Hank Balch here from Beyond Clean, and you are watching a video about how to get paid more in sterile processing. I think we're going to have a lot of interest in this topic because, honestly, who doesn't want to get paid a little bit more? There's a lot of ways that we can approach this question. I want to start first at the beginning of your career. I actually just had a message this morning from a new technician. It's waiting on their first job offer. And her question was, do I take this job if it doesn't pay as much as I want it to pay? First job out of the box. And I actually told her that if you like the department, if you like the boss, if it's a good drive, if everything else is good or at least good enough, apart from that starting pay rate, I would say jump into it, right? Get your feet into the department, start learning the department, start getting skills, because with skills and experience, you get the magic L word, and that word is leverage. If you're not familiar with what that term means and what leverage means, leverage is tied to the word lever, which is, pulling down or pushing something up to move a heavier object or to move an object that's somewhere else. So how do you move a rock? Well, you've got a big rock and then you got a little rock, but then you put a little lever underneath that big rock, and then you use the little rock to roll it over. And that's what happens when you get more experience, more insight, more confidence in your sterile processing career. And that can be had anywhere, regardless of what they're paying you. Now, obviously, don't take a job that you cannot support yourself or your family. Nobody's saying that. But you can take a job, and I'm going to say many times you should take a job that pays less than other jobs if it allows you to get more leverage. Now, that leverage can play out in a lot of different ways. It could be that you've got a great boss at the job, and they're pouring into you, and they're mentoring you, and they're giving you all kinds of experiences that you just wouldn't get in a higher paying department because the boss is not as tuned in, doesn't really care about the employees, doesn't care about your future for sure. So in that instance, it's a great move because you're just building a bigger and bigger lever to push that rock over the hillside whenever you're ready. All that knowledge and experience. Maybe they let you do robotic instrumentation. Maybe they let you run the quality assurance program for the department if it's a small department. There's a million different accesses, or that's not even a word. There's a million different ways to access that insight and experience at that ground level. And if you're willing to kind of take the hit on the salary piece on the front end, you create an opportunity for you to kind of slingshot around other folks who may have started at a higher rate, but their leverage is small because they're not getting the experience. They're kind of told in to come into the department and push the button, and it's just a whole department full of button pushers, and no one's really getting the big picture. No one's really getting these outside experiences or these kind of secondary opportunities to lead or to teach or to learn. All of that creates the perfect opportunity for you, who has your eye on that lever, to build the best opportunity possible to shoot you farther, to use that slingshot analogy, farther and faster than your peers. So at the beginning of your career, my biggest piece of advice is to push yourself to learn, to ask questions, to humble yourself, to listen to what everyone around you is saying. Now, that doesn't mean believe what everyone around you is saying. So you have to have a good BS detector, because there's a lot of folks in our industry, just being honest, who have gotten burned along the way. They're just grumpy or grouchy, and they've got an axe to grind. That's not your axe, and you definitely don't want to start your career immediately becoming jaded. The whole world is before you. All the opportunity is laid out on the table. So don't let any of the old timers or any of the new timers who are already jaded impact your vision for what's possible in growth and compensation. Focus on learning, consuming, getting that kind of 360-degree perspective, and then start using that lever or that leverage at the times that you're having annual reviews, at the times when, hey, there's a vacancy for a new supervisor. Maybe you just have 1 year experience and you don't meet the qualifications, but you have come in to work and killed it for the last 12 months. You show up, rain, snow, sleet, or hail. You do the things no one else wants to do, like unload the cart washer, always answering the phone, always stopping what you're doing to help somebody else. Those things matter. And that can be that leverage that one day you come into the office and you just break that big stone. It's sitting there that represents your next opportunity and your next pay raise. Well, a lot more to talk about for new techs, but I want to kind of switch gears here to folks that have been in the industry kind of mid-career, right? So you've got some experience behind you. Let's say that you've got some of the credentials out there, some of the certifications. That kind of certification connection to compensation is such an interesting topic. I've talked about it before on the podcast. We've had some videos about it, and it's a popular conversation out there to tie compensation directly to certification. I just want you to be careful and thoughtful about linking those two too tightly, primarily because there's not a lot of data around our existing industry certifications that actually prove that someone who's certified is more productive, for instance, or is actually immeasurably safer in a technician that's not certified. We know that should be the case. That's the purpose of our industry certifications, but there's not a lot of data that actually shows that's true at any high level. So I think we put ourselves in our industry in kind of a precarious position when we say, yeah, to make more money, well, get more credentials or get more certification, because that automatically makes you a better technician. And again, those things may happen at the same time, but I think the jury is still out on the data. It's much better to say, hey, let's compensate based on data, the measurables. How productive are you as a technician? How safe are you as a technician? How dependable are you as a technician? How good are your leadership soft skills? Those are the things that are much more tangible, experiential than a test and a credential that happens to be on your badge. Not knocking those, because I've got 4 industry credentials behind my name. I'm a big fan of credentials. We've got a Beyond Clean micro credential that's all about verifying competency. Like, we are huge fans of education over here. But I also want you to have the best chance at improving your salary and your wage. And I think your best chance is to point to data points, not the credentials and not the education. So here we are mid-career. You've had 3, 4, 5, 6 years to really build your work ethic up, build your network. This is the important piece. You want to be building in these kind of mid-career times as big of a network as you can, so that folks know you, you know them, especially in your geography if you're looking to stay close to home for your jobs, because inevitably the manager at the other hospital leaves or the supervisor leaves. If all of your network and all your focus and all of your conversations are in your hospital and no one else out there knows you or knows of you, it can be very challenging to come up alongside and compete with someone who's already known. Your best case scenario in applying for those next level jobs, leadership or otherwise, is for them to know you or know about you before they ever lay eyes on your resume. That's golden, right? And they don't have to know everything about you, but you want them to know enough about you so that when they see your name, they're like, oh yeah, Hank is applying to this role. Oh man, that'd be awesome. I love what Hank puts out on LinkedIn. Or I've seen Julie write some articles and get published in these blogs or in these magazines. Y'all, that's that golden place, going back to the lever analogy. The bigger your professional brand is, the more known you are in your space. I'm not talking like everybody in the world has to know your name and face, but in your city, in your region, yes, it's a very good idea. If you want to grow as quick as you can and make as much money as you can, it's a very good idea to have a work ethic and have a professional brand that's big enough so that people know you, they know what you're about, they respect you, and they would want you to come and work with them or for them. That's the ticket. To wrap this up in a bow, let's talk about the end of career folks, the 10, 20, 30, 40 years, a ton of experience. A lot of what we said in the mid-career also applies to you, but hopefully by now that brand recognition, that personal brand recognition is already built for you. And just like at the beginning, all those data points are built. You can look back and say, I have worked all of these service lines. I know all of these instrumentation. If you have a tracking system, you could print out and say, this is my productivity level on average. This is my quality report and how many quality events happen in my career. Folks love, let me tell you, hiring managers love to hire seasoned professionals who know their trade and have that resume and data to back it up. Now, here's a little warning though, and it's kind of tying all this together again. There's a difference in 20 years experience and 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. Okay, I really want you to get that. 20 years experience signifies growth, right? So first year, you're going to know some things. Second year, you're going to know more things. Third, you're going to know more things. Growth over 20 years. Or it's that person who comes in, learns things for 1 year, but then decides they know everything they need to know. And they don't learn anything else for the next 19 years. So they know just as much 20 years into the job as someone who just started a job 1 year ago. You don't want to end up in your career being that person. So I really want to encourage you to have the best leverage possible in these compensation discussions to continue the growth, because you've got 20 years of opportunity to grow and to consume and to meet and to enlarge your knowledge and your network. Then you can really be competitive, because what you don't want to happen is you sit in that manager's office or that director's office or that VP's office and say, yeah, I want a 20% raise. And they look at your resume and they look at your data and they say, well, we've got employees and applicants that have 5 years experience and they're just as hardworking as you, they're more productive as you, they're safer than you are, and they're asking for a lot less money. You've actually worked yourself out of the leverage situation in that case. Just be very careful and cognizant of those risks. So there's a lot more that can be said, and I want to say a little bit of it in some other videos about how to make more money, but hopefully that introduces you in the various stages of careers that you may find yourself in on how to build that lever and use that leverage to get the places that you want to go. If you have any questions about this that I didn't cover in the video, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Or you can email me at hank@beyondclean.net. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, there's a little bell around here somewhere, up, down, around. But if you'll click that bell and subscribe, then you'll get notified anytime that we release a new video out on the channel. Thank you for what you do. I wish you the best in getting paid. And until next time, keep fighting dirty.